Nourish fam, Farmer Ash here, reporting live out on pasture with the pigs at our hog partner farm. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what makes Nourish pork special and talk a little bit about hogs in general. So here at our hog partner farm, there's pretty cool things happening. So first is that all the babies are born here and they're raised here and they are finished here. So that allows us to just make sure that everything is in tip-top shape and under our standards, right? And one of my requirements, and our farm partner has just excelled at this, is 0 vaccines, no medications at all, back to how things used to be done, right? So like routine vaccinations are unfortunately just like the norm now. But when you raise animals like this out in nature, in their natural environment where they're grounded to the earth, they get fresh grass and sunlight, fresh air, you can raise animals without these medical interventions, because livestock pharmaceuticals are like a huge industry. Antibiotics, vaccines, all of these things are very, very profitable. I have visited a number of like hog confinement barns in our areas. I can't take like my phone in there, but they have antibiotics in the water. So they're drinking antibiotics every day because it's such a sterile environment in there that like they can't really be exposed to anything. Whereas like out here, it's a free-for-all because they're healthy and it's natural to be exposed to this wide variety of different grasses and microbes and all these germs. These are healthy animals, right? So there's that piece. So I think that having livestock and pigs outside on pasture is a really important component for the hog health, so that they can be raised in a much more ancestral way without these medical interventions. There's that piece. And then I also think that hogs are really beneficial for the land. Other people will say differently, but when they are moved out on pasture, so not just staying in the same lot over and over and over, being exposed to their urine and their manure and just laying in the same spots over and over, they can be really great for improving pasture. So our farm partner is a great example. Like, look at how luscious and crazy biodiverse these grasses are from rotating the hogs. So he regularly rotates the hogs. It's not every day. It doesn't need to be every day compared to cows, but he regularly rotates them, and that depends on the season, whether that's every 3 days, every week, how much grass is growing and how much they have consumed. It's about being aware of how the hogs are doing and how the land is doing. So I think regular rotation out on pasture is another very important piece for the land health and the hog health as well. However, hogs are monogastric animals, just like you. So we have single stomachs. And so that means that the types of fat that we consume in our diet directly impacts the types of fat inside of us. And that impacts how our metabolism runs, signaling molecules, and also, of course, impacts the structure, because part of the function of the fat that we consume is making up various structures throughout our body. You've heard, fatty acids form certain parts of membranes and things like that. So the types of fat that you consume are, yes, being used for energy production, but also structural and for signaling. So signaling, obviously, if you consumed a diet rich in saturated fat versus a diet rich in polyunsaturated fat, PUFAs, that would signal different things inside the body. So back in early 1900s, human diets were very low in PUFAs. Now, and that was like somewhere close to 1 to 2%, and now we are well above 20 to 25% of our daily calories, and that's largely due to, of course, vegetable oils and seed oils, but that's also due to chicken and pork consumption, because you are what you eat eats. And for chicken and pork, they're monogastric animals, single stomach, so the types of fat that they consume impacts the types of fat inside of them. So if you are staying away from seed oils and vegetable oils yourself, you may want to stay away from chickens and pigs being fed those as well. A very common feed ingredient for both chickens and pigs is corn, soy, and vegetable oil, including like safflower oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil, which is not even vegetables to begin with, it's seed oils. So those are just common ingredients because they're really cheap, and those crops are subsidized by the government. So of course they're going to be widely used throughout conventional agriculture and regenerative agriculture. So that's why I made our own hog feed low in polyunsaturated fat, low in PUFA, free of corn, soy, and other high PUFA ingredients. So that way we can get back to like how hogs were eating back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when the saturated fat content of pork was much higher and the polyunsaturated fat content was much lower. So there are now studies coming out showing that the fat in pork can contain as much PUFAs as canola oil. So that's alarming and frightening, right? So if you're avoiding canola oil, but then you're eating pork that's high in PUFAs, same amount, what's the point, right? So what you eat matters. And so that's one thing that really sets Nourish Cooperative's pork apart is I designed the feed to be low in PUFA. So the fat in our pork is going to be low in PUFA. And we have quite a few people who have never been able to eat pork before. They have problems with other types of bacon that they've tried, but they do totally fine with our pork products, which is just so awesome and fulfilling for me. And I think it's because of the PUFA content and also potentially any corn or soy allergies being passed through to the pigs, largely soy allergies. So that's a really exciting part about like customer feedback. You guys have loved the taste of the pork, and I am just so proud of our farm partner. He has done just an exceptional job with taking, I basically came here about a little bit over a year ago, and I was like, all right, these are my standards. What are your thoughts? Can you do it? And he was like, yeah, we can do that. And he has just ran with it and has done so well. So first is vaccine-free, needle-free, no antibiotics, no hormones, none of that nonsense. Second is low PUFA feed. So he trusted that my feed that I designed would work for his pigs. He just went full force in, and his hogs have been doing really great. Third is like rotating out on pasture, and he has really put up a ton of like infrastructure to make that happen. And he's doing a really great job with that. And number 4 is that all the hogs are born and raised on this property. So then that way we are sure that no vaccines or no medical interventions are introduced at any stage, because, you know, a lot of farms may, you know, buy in hogs from an auction or something like that, and you don't really know what happened when they were young. So the babies are born here and then weaned and then finished here as well, and then brought to the butcher. So everything is happening here, which is really awesome, exciting, and it's also leading to a really cool farm. He has some other animals here, like some cows and some horses, to add some more biodiversity. So basically, he brings his horses and some of his cows through, and then the pigs follow. So, all right, that's enough of me talking. Let's go hang out with the pigs and move them to the next paddock. All right, so that about wraps up this Nourish News. Appreciate all of you guys so much. Together, we are creating an alternative food system where we all have really high standards, and I just feel so blessed to be a part of this. I feel so grateful to be able to have you all like-minded individuals in this community together. I feel so blessed to have these farm partners that are able to do these things that I asked them to do in such an amazing way, and it just feels like I am in the position that I was meant to be in. So thank you to each and every one of you, and I'll see you guys next week.